Hello, some sad news to bring you this afternoon. The former Scotland manager, Craig Brown, has died at the age of 82. Brown guided Scotland to Euro 96 and the World Cup 2 years later, with that appearance in 1998, the last time the team qualified for the World Cup. Brown was Scotland's longest-serving manager and also on the staff for the 1986 and 1990 World Cup finals. Brown managed Preston North End and Motherwell before ending his career at Aberdeen in 2013 and moving into a board position at Pittodrie. Well, Brown's family have released the following statement. Craig died peacefully today after a short illness in University Hospital Ayr, surrounded by close family members. The family wish to express their deep appreciation of the outstanding care and attention provided by hospital staff and the countless messages of support and sympathy from friends and colleagues. At this particularly sad time, the family now request their privacy is respected during the grieving process. We can go now to Hampden Park and speak to our reporter, Gordon Duncan. Gordon, plenty of tributes pouring in for Craig Brown. Just how much did he mean to Scottish football?
Yeah, he meant everything. He meant an awful lot to a lot of people, and I think you can see that already by the volume, the depths of those tributes that have been pouring in. Scottish football undeniably has lost one of its favourite men in Craig Brown, and there are numerous reasons for that. You referenced the managerial CV, and it's one which stacks up against pretty much all of the previous Scotland managers. The longevity of his time in charge of the national team, going to Euro 96 and France 98. And then at that point, perhaps after Preston and people thinking that the career would perhaps be winding down, came back with so much enthusiasm and vigour north of the border and managing the likes of Motherwell and Aberdeen. Pretty much every club in Scotland, by the looks of it, has taken to social media to offer their condolences to the family and pay their tribute as well, none more so than those former club sides that we mentioned, Motherwell and Aberdeen. And Aberdeen in particular using the word heartbroken, which I think will speak on behalf of quite a lot of people involved in Scottish football. But it was about more than just that managerial record. It really was about the man. Every single person that came into contact with Craig Brown felt the warmth, felt the care, felt the friendliness, the types of qualities that you can't fake and you can't put on. Craig Brown was just one of life's genuinely good people, an absolute gentleman that had time for everyone. And that's the main reason you're seeing those tributes pouring in this afternoon. And then from a football perspective, although we mentioned the club side of things, right here at Hampden, just synonymous with that national team. To go 70 games, he still remains the last man to take Scotland to a World Cup finals back in France 98. He always said he would love to pass that baton on, and Steve Clarke, of course, charged with doing that currently. And it's, Craig Brown always said that he would be more than willing to let that record slide by and see Scotland go to another World Cup final. So a real sad day on a number of fronts. You look at the footballing career and a playing career cut short due to injury, moving into management at Clyde, really, then all steps of the national team setup, talking about youth teams and under-21s and assistant manager, and then on to the manager. But it is the person, it is that personality, a man who would quite simply light up any room that he entered. That was Craig Brown, and that's why he'll be so fondly remembered across Scottish football and beyond.
Thank you very much. Well, let's get more reaction on that now and speak to the former Scotland midfielder, Paul Lambert. Paul, good to speak to you this afternoon, albeit not in the best of circumstances. I just said to our reporter, Gordon, what did he mean to Scottish football? What did Craig Brown mean to you?
Well, he gave me my debut, first and foremost, and I just heard it there. He's the last manager to take us to a World Cup, which is incredible, the longevity of it. It was one of the best one-liners I've ever heard from Craig. It was a brilliant one-liner that he could get you encapsulated in the way he was. But it was brilliant for us. And I think if you ask anybody in that era, in that national team, how good he was with us, he would lay it right on the line for you. He knew exactly what you were going to do. And a really good disciplinarian, he really was. He taught you great habits, great things to go and learn from. And you're right what you're saying. It's a sad loss, that really is.
Would it be right in saying, Paul, that you would have come across Craig before you got to full national honours, because he was in the age groups and you were in the age groups? That tournament in 1992, would you both have crossed paths there?
he was my manager when I was the under-21s. We had a great run. We got to the semi-final, and Sweden beat us. And that's when I first really encountered him. I knew him about him way back when he was with Andy Roxburgh. I knew Craig from then, and so what I did know of him was a lot, really. And he took me through to the national team, and really gave me my debut, really, and put me on that kind of Scottish kind of map of it. So it's a massive loss to everybody. I think everybody will have a great word to say about him. But as I said before, in the dressing room, he was a brilliant one-liner, and made you laugh. He was a brilliant storyteller. I've got to say, he was a brilliant after dinner speaker, which I've heard him on a few times. But as a football person, as a manager, he was great for us.
What do you remember then about that conversation in 1995 when he turns to you and said, yep, this is the moment that you're going to get your debut, because that is a moment that any footballer dreams of, playing their first international game for their country?
It was never one like... He welcomed me into the group, really, and kind of really got me going. And obviously, I got my debut when I was in Dortmund, really, and that kind of put me on the national team. But I played with some great players in the national team at that time, with a really good side. At that time, but Craig and it was Alec Muller at the time were brilliant for us, got us to the World Cup, took us to a great place and playing Brazil on opening day, and it was just brilliant. I remember him come up to my room before we played Brazil, and he said, Paul, he said, don't tell anybody, but you're playing against Brazil. I went, okay, no problem. He said, you've got a great task tomorrow. I need you to man Mark Rivaldo. And it was brilliant, and he just walked out my room from there and just left it with me, and that was Craig. He was just a great manager. And you talk about running through walls for managers. He was certainly one of them.
We've seen it, I think, probably, Paul, a few times in recent seasons with Scotland and Wales making major tournaments, that it's the manager that's able to cultivate the importance of the culture and the group and make the team more than the sum of its parts. Was that something that Craig did as well?
Well, absolutely. He was... he had a group of players there that were in the World Cup that were top players at that time. Scotland had really top players, and he managed everybody really well. And if you never played, you got on with it. He never really mollycoddled you and put his arm around you. He expects you to take it, and everybody did. Even when the lads were coming in, everybody would run through a wall for him. So he was that type of manager. I don't think anybody would have a bad word to say about him. Just a really good guy, as I said before. Really, it's a real sad loss, but I've got fond memories of him and the way he managed me.
You spoke there about that opening game of the World Cup in 1998 against Brazil, and I remember watching it, and there was nothing in the game that day, was there? You could quite easily have got something out of that, and very much the same at Euro 96 a couple of years earlier, that Scotland could quite easily have made the knockout stages. Very, very fine margins in both of those tournaments.
Well, very much so. There's a great story in the World Cup. I don't know if many people know, but we were standing in the tunnel with Brazil, and we knew who we were up against. Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Aldair, everybody was there. Cafu, Roberto Carlos, Dunga, Rivaldo. They were a brilliant side, so we all knew who we were up against. And there was a deathly silence in the tunnel, and Craig, the wee voice at the back, said, "Don't worry, lads." He said, they're a bit frightened of us. And it broke the ice in the tunnel. And I think that's what gave us a catalyst to go and have a good game against them. Yeah, we lost the game 2-1, but anybody at that game, anybody that saw that game, there was a really fine line of margin of Brazil beating us that day, but he was a catalyst of it. I don't think anybody should underestimate the role he played in Scotland having a good team at that era.
And I think one of the things we've been saying so often over the course of the afternoon is that when it comes to World Cups, Scotland have not been back there since. And I guess that stands to sort of testify to the magnitude of the achievement of getting Scotland to a World Cup, that it is not easy to do.
It's not, and we're a small nation, albeit the lads in this present time are doing fantastic for us. Stevie's done a great job, and hopefully he can get us there. But 25 years or so, or whatever it was, 1998, that's an incredible thing for us not to qualify from then. And to be the last man to do it, I don't think he'd have wanted that, to have that legacy. He was the last man to do it. I think he'd have wanted to see what other manager could have done it. And there's been great managers before that have tried and failed it. Hopefully this year, the next few years, Stevie can do it for us. But Craig getting us there and keeping that group together and how strong it was, I can only say it's a real sad loss because he was a brilliant guy to get on with.
Wanted to finish with a statement, or part of the statement, from the Scottish FA President Mike Mulroney, Paul, who says the greatest tribute is that he can be held alongside his peers who happen to be our all-time great coaches: Jock Stein, Sir Alex Ferguson, Walter Smith, Jim McLean and Andy Roxburgh. Is that the sort of company that you would put Craig Brown into today?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, he's up there with Sir Alex and Jim McLean and people like that. It's a real sad loss. I said I can only go by what I encountered with him, and I did many a year with him. And he was great with us, great with the team, and he had big characters to manage at that time. He's the big players that had seen it and done it, and to be the last manager to do it, he certainly was down as, I'm pretty sure as one of the greatest Scottish managers up there, without a doubt.
Paul, it's a real shame we have to speak under these circumstances this afternoon, but really appreciate you sharing your memories with us. Thank you very much.
No problem.